every single time we choose to create or to co-create along the paths of love and truth. Our bodies, our physical bodies, are wired for love and truth. Because let's be honest, God is so intelligent with the way that we were designed. Because if both our brains and our bodies were wired for love and truth, then a lot of people would die very quickly because they would have no sense of keeping their human body safe. And if our brains and our bodies were wired for safety, then nothing spectacular would ever be created. Because we would always live in a state of protection, not a state of possibility. Now, something truly miraculous happens when we rewire our brains to work in harmony with our bodies. And remember, our bodies are already coded for love and truth. Our bodies already know what love and truth feels like because that is where we came from. We know what it feels like. We know the beauty of it. We know the joy of it. Our brains, however, are wired for Earth, for the human nature of life. So when we remember our beloved identity and we remember what home truly feels like, every single time we choose to drop anchor into the realms of love and truth, just like we did at the very beginning with our first practice, we rewire our brain to live in a state of possibility instead of protection. Every single time you consciously choose your thoughts, you recognize your old patterning. You recognize where you are holding yourself back, where you are playing small, where you are choosing fear. You give yourself the opportunity to co-create love and truth. Because by recognizing where you are out of alignment with love and truth, you can consciously bring yourself back into alignment with love and truth, thus further rewiring your brain, allowing you to co-create infinite possibilities. I have a lot of notes here today because today's call is going to be very, very large. There is so much that I desire to talk about across these 5 modules that I had to take some very detailed notes as we were beginning. One of the ways that we can truly begin to recode our own bodies, our own minds, and then eventually work our way up to be able to effect matter and create the change you wish to see in the world and in your own life is by doing exactly what we did at the beginning of this practice, of this call. That practice, anchoring into love and truth, expanding your heart's capacity to receive, to feel, to hold sensation, to amplify love and truth via the vessel of your body. And when you have your anchor dropped and you are sourcing from the source, there is no limit to the amount of love that you can contain, expand, amplify in your body and beyond. And so each time you consciously choose to drop anchor, you expand your body and mind's capacity to co-create love and truth. And you expand your body's capacity to care. And caring is a really key code, a really fundamental key code of establishing faith, of the entire body of work I have devoted my life to creating. Because caring about your thoughts, thus your words, thus your actions, and caring about the people in your life, caring about your God-given mission, purpose, or God vision, amplifies love and truth in the world. It simultaneously opens up pathways to potential, creates new timelines, creates new potential realities. And it's one of the ways that you can weave through the multiverse, following the strands of love and truth, the breadcrumbs of love and truth, wherever God desires to lead you. And another reason why it's one of the most fundamental key codes of the establishing faith world is because of the beloved identity. The beloved identity is the most fundamental truth about who you are. It's remembering both who you are and whose you are. We touched it very briefly at the beginning with remembering where we come from. But to very concisely explain the beloved identity, being the beloved is embodying the truth that you are the chosen and cherished child of God, that you were made in the image and likeness of the Creator, and thus you have infinite potential for creating love and truth. And when you remember that about yourself, you are able to remember that about every single other person in this world. Most importantly, starting with your family. When you remember that you are the beloved, you are the chosen, cherished child of God, and you can create anything you can possibly imagine, and that your most fundamental identity is love. You can remember that about your husband. And when you remember that about your husband, you completely change the dynamic in your relationship from being whatever it is now to one of mutual respect, graciousness, trust, love that multiplies on end in an infinite cycle that is regenerative and never, ever, ever ends. So the love grows and amplifies with every passing day of your life. Then you can do the same thing with your children, with your parents, with your nephews, nieces, in-laws, cousins, friends, co-workers, bosses, the people who work inside of your mission, vision, purpose, the people who you are employing, your team members, your clients, the people who will be impacted by your mission, purpose, or God vision. And thus to the entire world. So something amazing happens when you remember this. You start to see the world via a lens or an attitude of graciousness. Graciousness means, and I learned this from the wonderful Gillian Pothier, to be filled with the grace of God. Now, graciousness as an attitude or as a lens allows you to be slower to anger, faster in forgiving, more patient, more present, more regulated, because you realize, oh, if that person is lashing out about me, if that person is saying something obnoxious about me, about my family, about my legacy, about what it is that I'm creating, It's not a reflection of me because I am the beloved. I know who I am. It's a reflection of their own forgetting their own identity. They don't remember who they are.